Wow. Remember when science fiction was about a future you weren't terrified to live in? Well, the series we're looking at in this video is a light-hearted and fun science fiction series which shows such a future. Thanks for joining me today. So if you're after a science fiction novel that doesn't take itself seriously, one that's not as ridiculous as the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, then this could be the series for you. It's called the EarthCent Ambassadors series. Ian Foner wrote it, but it's branded as the Union Station, and that's how I know it. So let's just stick with that, the Union Station series. And speaking of branding and the covers, wow, just wow. just wow, date night. It doesn't sound good, and the original cover was a little bit weird. It looked a bit more risque, but after reading some of the reviews, I did pick it up and read it and was quite pleasantly surprised. It was a great story. And then they did change it, so here's what you've probably seen now. But I had to have a look at the reviews to see what was actually going on with this, whether the blurb matched up with what was in the book. And many reviewers have pointed out that this could probably be rated as a PG series. There's no bloodshed, there's no graphic sex, and there's no four-letter words. So it's good that they changed the cover. Now, I've only read the first two in the series. The first one is Date Night at Union Station, and that's a sweet romantic comedy. It revolves around a mystery to be solved. The next one, Alien Night on Union Station, I like that one better, and it revolves around a sort of political thriller, which of course there's a mystery to be solved. What's it all about? Well, basically it's science fiction. Well, being a science fiction series, it's set in space, and humanity has finally reached the stars thanks to some help from an ancient race of artificial intelligent beings. But there's a catch. These beings, called the Strix, will only allow Earth to use the interstellar flight lanes if they show a united front, basically a planet-wide government. This is where Earth Central, or EarthCent, comes in, and it's an autonomous pseudo-government set up by the Strix. However, after they set it up, the diplomats and ambassadors were not given any directions in what to do by the Strix, or how the organisation is run, what to do. It's just, there you go, off with it, get started. And there's no organisation, along with competing interests from the various nations of Earth. It ends up being quite an anarchic place to work, which brings its own comedy. Now, the author says, the goal in writing this series was to cheer myself up and to find out if there's still an audience for science fiction comedy that gets its laughs from dialogue and funny situations rather than from gross outs and shocks. And I think that is. I mean, I'm one of those people. I'd like to see dialogue and funny situations in science fiction. Dealing with con artists who are actually little girls selling flowers, and you can't give the money back, or they're just raising money to buy a little brother. You know, it's just, it's weird, but it works in the story. Each book is its own self-contained story, so there's no cliffhangers. The main interest in the Union Station universe, apart from the relationships between the people, the aliens and the AI, is imagining what happens with species who have had access to high tech, and in some cases for tens of millions of years. Do they continue to work? Do they continue to care? Do they die out, go back to nature, try to elevate themselves to God? How does a nearly omniscient artificial intelligence deal with things like monetary policy and rental agreements? It's all in there, and it's a good read. And it's a situational comedy that we get from the interactions between the aliens and the human culture. And that's on point, I think. The writing's well paced, funny and well done, and there's also some really good character development over the course of the book and the series as a whole. Each book in the series picks up after some time. So like the last one, for example, there's 5 years between Date Night and Alien Night. But the main characters return, and there's some newer ones as well. All up, it's a fun read, a nice quick read as well, and I think the perfect synopsis would be, it's about characters trying to make a living and finding joy in life. And that's something I'd like to read. So it's a fun series to read, and you know, if you're reading Alistair Reynolds or Peter F. Hamilton, and it's like, I want something a little bit lighter, I'd recommend try these ones. Have you read the series? Let me know what you thought. If you've also read some other light-hearted, fun science fiction, let me know in the comment section below what it is. If you want the channel to grow, why not share this with your friends? Leave a like as well, and don't forget to read more and think more with your favorite beverage. Thanks a lot. See you next time. Do you remember when remember when science fiction used to be about a future that we weren't terrified to live in? I do. Sometimes. I think it's just Star Trek. Yeah, I think it's just Star Trek.